Hey guys, I'm back with Defying Finance. This is Dwight, and I wanted to go over something that's been reported today. I know many of you who follow stocks have probably heard about this, but I have other followers that don't quite follow stocks. Maybe they're in crypto, or they're just trying to figure out what to do in their portfolios for real estate. But I wanted to point something out right now. So the yuan is the currency of China, and apparently it's having a good day. And what is happening is they are talking to Saudi Arabia about pricing oil in their currency. Now, this is very important. Now, the United States has been fortunate enough to, well, I mean, we should sort of con the world into this. We developed their oil fields, and in return, they were to buy United States treasuries with a large portion of their profits. Well, if China pulls this off, which this started years ago, for even those who have been sort of following this started back in like 2017, 18. These discussions were going on. But you can see the yuan's having a great day because of that. We'll see what happens. But this is really interesting. If they do succeed in backing in the yuan, that means they don't have to convert to U.S. dollars first. It's China doesn't have to convert to U.S. dollars to buy oil. You see, all these other countries have to convert to dollars to buy oil. Because you have what's called the petrodollar, right? Everything is priced in dollars, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Now, I don't know that China totally pulls this off. I think the United States ultimately will kind of force everybody to do whatever it wants. It's just the way it's been, and that's part of why Russia is so upset. I can totally understand, and China the same way, and many of these other countries, when we have control over such a large part of the market, everybody has to use our currency. You know, we can put sanctions on you and make you do what we want you to do. So there's a lot of discussions on moving away from the dollar, and this is exactly why China and Russia have been buying a lot of gold over the past 10 years. But I want to play something just to kind of refresh some of your memories and to play something that maybe many of you haven't heard. Now, this is only a minute long, but listen to this. This is really important.
As of January, Russia...
Oh, let me point out, this is 2017, October 2017, okay?
The world's second largest oil exporter has agreed to price oil in yuan and to accept yuan for payments. The Chinese are lubricating this process with a futures contract for future oil priced in yuan backed by gold. Now the Chinese are going to the Saudis and saying, well, look, since 1936, you've only priced oil in dollars, but we're now your biggest customer. China moved and took over from the United States the title of biggest oil importer on the planet, and producing 30 million cars per year, they're going to dominate global demand for oil moving forward. The Saudis have to pay attention to this, because even as much as 1 or 2 years from now, Chinese demand will dwarf U.S. demand. And oh yes, the Saudis want to sell their Aramco shares, and nobody wants to list them on the exchanges, but the Saudis can get the Chinese to buy that with no questions asked as a private placement. I believe that yuan pricing of oil is coming, and as soon as the Saudis move to accept it, as the Chinese will compel them to do, then the rest of the oil market will move along with them.
So that's really important. Obviously, this has been going on, for years. They've been trying to, get these contracts priced in yuan, and they may succeed in the short term. They may succeed overall, but I could see the potential for more sanctions coming towards Saudi Arabia if China was to do this, especially if China did want to invade Taiwan, for example, right? They know what's coming after they've seen what just happened to Russia. So there's this great divide right now between currencies. Other countries want to trade without having to use the dollar to do that. But I don't know what's going to happen here with the dollar, but I think it's clear through history about every 40 years you have a monetary change. Ours was really in 1971 was the last time, so we're really overdue. That was when Nixon took us off the gold standard. And Bretton Woods was 1944, right? So technically, we defaulted. Um, we kind of screwed over the rest of the world, right? We were holding all this gold, and people wanted to repatriate their gold and get it back, but we didn't want the currency for the gold, so we took the real stuff and we kind of stiffed everybody else. So I'm sure that pissed a lot of people off. But let's take a look at oil right now. Now, if you watch some of my other videos, I discussed that I thought oil was going to eventually have this quick shoot back down. I wasn't sure how far it would go down, but we'd stay within a channel, and it looks like right now we're getting right back to a nice little channeled zone, and we didn't quite hit a point to where I was willing to sell some at that time. If we would have got closer to that 150, I definitely would have been selling some XLE. Maybe not all of it, just some of it, because I still believe we have a massive inflation problem. But we entered back into this channel. That doesn't mean we're going to stay here. So keep that in mind. We could blow right back up through this, which I do believe over the longer term we are going to continue going higher with all commodities. Like, I think even the nickel market right now is still closed. It's been closed for like a week. Right, this is crazy. That's because the nickel that's supposed to be behind these futures contracts, when people want to take delivery of it, it's not there, which means it's just paper. It's not really there, which also means the price should just be way, way higher. And it's the same thing in the gold market and the silver market. They issue these paper shares of futures out there that act as supply in the spot market. Well, if we go look at XLE, and again, this is my play that I do have a futures account, but I don't play much in that area. So I want to move this to a weekly chart just to squash this down a little bit more. Let me move that over for now. Again, some of you have seen this chart I've worked on. We can see the last time we had this big run, it was 6 years long, right? 334% gain. Then we had another 5-year one starting back. Well, really, you could come back to this time about September 2008 after it fell. The market collapsed. Many of you remember that. We had this long run again for 5 years. Now, I think we got to take out this old high, especially between 2014, actually really 2008, right? TARP kind of started around here. That was the first $700 billion that Bush had put into the economy when everything started going haywire. So really from here to here, we've printed a lot of money, right? Or currency is really what this is. So I think overall we're going to blow through this point, but I just don't think we're there yet in time. We're kind of like right around, if actually look at this, right? We're right around this kind of area. Actually, not even really that far. If we look at this point right here where we fell March 2020, right now we're March 2022. We're 2 years in, so maybe somewhere around here on that same type of run. So I think we still got a long way to go, but we're gonna break this 150 or the well, I'm not looking at oil. I guess oil was 150, but XLE, I think we're gonna break that 100. Now I'm expecting it to go to 135 as kind of that peak point, but I'm gonna be selling on the way up, depending on what's happening in the market. If we're in World War III, this can change dramatically. So you have to be ready for a bunch of different types of events. But there's an issue too with oil, is if we have a massive recession, which I think we're going into, generally oil will have a sell-off. So we have so many cross currents going on right now. In a war, maybe people are driving less, right? If we had a similar war to World War II, women were building tanks and junk like that for this war, right? I don't know that we're going to have the same type of war, if we even have one, as we did back then. Everything's really fought from kind of the missiles now, from the ground or from boats or from planes, right? So we don't quite take the same tactics as we used to. But my point is, you may be using less oil. There may be rationing of oil. So I don't know. You also don't know whether the government's going to come up with some crazy program and start price fixing and say, no, you can't sell gasoline for more than X amount. Well, that just makes them sell less gasoline overall, and then people end up rationing. They can't even get the gasoline they need. So I know this sounds weird, but there's a saying, the cure for high prices is high prices. Eventually prices get to a point where people say, nah, I'm just going to drive a little less, or I'm not going to take that trip I take to Tahoe once every 2 weeks, right? They're just not going to do those types of things, and then the prices begin to fall. So the market will find the right area, but unfortunately government generally gets in the way. So there's a couple great articles out there on what's happening here. I'd suggest you look them up. But anyway, I'm going to get this posted here. Be sure, if you're on YouTube or you're on Rumble, make sure you like the video, comment. I know other people are commenting in different locations, but you might have some good ideas you could share with somebody, or another video. Be careful when you click on the links, though, down in the comment section, just in case someone's scamming you. And I'm not putting my phone number on there, so if you see one of those, don't call that number. It's not me. I'm not giving you my phone number. So anyway, I'll make some other videos on the S&P 500, what's going on right now in the stock market. But be sure also, if an ad pops up, just watch the ad. Maybe it might be 10 seconds or 30 seconds. It's free content anyway. It only costs you a little bit of time. But thanks for watching.